Okay, I think I should be in here now.
Yeah, you are, my man. We're good. Okay.
All
And
right.
we're up on YouTube.
Okay. All right. So, I don't know. Yeah, I guess we could just start off right away. Okay. So I guess the main question is, I don't know. Yeah, what is the moment in your life that changed you?
Okay, a moment in my life that changed me.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, hold on a second. I gotta close this YouTube channel over there. Okay, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, it's like
Okay.
echoing in the background.
A moment in my life that changed me, Kong,
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
any particular way, or
Yeah, no, I'm not really. I think it's all really up to you. Like, it could be a small change, or it could be like a big change. Yeah, it could be just something as simple as, like giving a pen to the guy next to you, and then that just made you feel like you're more giving or something like that. Or
okay,
yeah, or like it could be something big, like you fell down a hill when you were little, and now you're afraid of heights or something like that.
okay, okay. Interesting question here. I would have to say a moment in my life that changed me. It's a tough one, Kong. I'm gonna have to say going to college.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Doris chose the same topic too.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
going to college has changed me. Yeah.
oh, okay. And I don't, yeah, yeah. Was there like any, I don't know, particular thing that going to college changed you? Like maybe just getting away from people, or like, I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
know what, Kong? Why don't we focus on study abroad? I think study abroad really changed me.
Oh, okay, yeah, that works too.
I had an
Okay.
opportunity to live overseas in Russia. I lived in Moscow for a semester. I lived with a host mother, and I had kind of an experience that was very unique for me at the time. I had an opportunity to totally immerse myself in a different culture and a different language. And I felt probably for the first time in my life, and this is an experience that I know a lot of other people feel around the world, that I felt like I was sort of decentered, and I was in an area where I didn't know where like my whole perspective on things changed, and my perspective on myself changed, and I found it to be very challenging and really rewarding and transformative.
Oh, okay. And I don't, yeah. And while you were in Russia, like, how did you feel about, I don't know, just going there as a like what is it? Yeah, going there as a student to study abroad, but then like around you, they're all it's all kind of like what is it? Oh man, hold on. Like, before I ask you that question, yeah, yes. So when you went there, were you mainly in like what is it? Just the main city, or were you off in like the countryside and whatnot too?
I lived right in Moscow,
Oh,
so
okay.
I was yeah, I was right in the city.
Oh, okay. Yes, and yeah, and then did you have like any chance to go out to and explore while you were there, other than just studying
I
in
did.
the city?
I did. I had an opportunity to visit a couple different cities in Russia, and had an opportunity to go into like the countryside. So I got to go to St. Petersburg, which is fantastic, and then I went into central Russia. Hello, Kong.
Oh, oh, yep, yep,
Okay. I had
yeah.
an opportunity to visit parts of central Russia. So I went to Kazan, I went to Saratov, Samara, and Volgograd, all cities along the Volga River. So I had an opportunity to sort of travel down the Volga and see kind of like a real sort of like, yeah, kind of real Russian towns, that weren't as cosmopolitan as Moscow is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Oh, well, since you were like along the river, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, I took a trip down the Volga River there and studied abroad. It was really fun.
So did you like get a chance to what are those things called? Like Ugandas or something?
Like a gondola, Kong?
Yeah, 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 like gondola. Yeah, yeah. Did you get a chance to ride one of those, or they
So
don't
a
have those in Russia?
gondola is like a small flat boat in Venice, which is paddled by one person with a giant oar.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think you can travel hundreds of miles in a gondola,
Um, oh, okay. I
especially.
mean, yeah.
So it was no, it was like a boat.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it'd be interesting if like it was something like, in France, like how like gondolas and the canals and whatnot. I
Yeah,
don't know. Just,
I think that's Italy.
oh, is it Italy?
Yeah, I've never been, but I'm pretty sure it's Venice.
Oh, okay, okay.
They could have them in France too. What do I know? Eh.
Okay, so I don't yeah, so when you're in the countryside, like yeah, what like was there anything that like shocked you, you know, like like people you saw or like the stuff that
Yeah,
they
I had a
did?
chance to go to Volgograd. Do you know much about Volgograd, Kong?
Nope, I don't know anything about it at all.
Volgograd was the site of one of the largest battles in World War II. And
Mhm.
it's also, I think, now has the largest number of human casualties in a battle in world history. So what happened in
Mhm.
Volgograd was that basically the Germans were trying to sort of stop the production of Russian armaments, which was happening in Volgograd. So they surrounded the city, and basically it was like a long, prolonged kind of siege of Volgograd, where a substantial number of people died.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. And I had never really kind of been in a place where that sheer quantity of mass death had occurred, and it was very somber. The city today exists just like any other city, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
easy to kind of just look around the town and be like, oh, there's shopping centers and there's schools and there's businesses, and it's kind of easy to forget what had happened there. But at the same time, there's this real pervasive sense of remembrance of Volgograd because they have an enormous statue to the victims of Russian World War II and like the civilian population who passed away there. So Russia lost like 20 million people in World War II. I can fact check that real quick. So you want to look at the
Okay.
Battle of Volgograd if you have your computer open. Yeah,
Oh,
at the
okay.
time it was called Stalingrad.
Uh,
Yep,
um,
lasted for 5 months. A decisive Soviet victory. Casualties.
oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Now that I'm looking at, I think I've heard of this. Yeah, I remember like going over it like slightly in some history class.
Yeah, so it was really interesting. And then they had the Mat Rodina,
Mm-hmm.
Mat Rodina Monument, which is a famous Russian monument there. It's like a Russian Statue of Liberty. You should look it up. And
Okay.
it's enormous, Kong. And so the real crux of our trip to Volgograd was visiting this monument. Did you take a peek at it? It's a woman warrior statue.
Okay. What is it called again?
Mat Rodina. So M-A-T and then
Hmm.
space R-O-D-I-N-A. And that's Russian for motherland
Oh, okay.
or like mother of the land.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, it's like kind of
It,
remind me like the goddess.
yes, like
Yeah.
yeah, you get this sense that it's like a warrior goddess type statue, right? And so we had an
Hmm.
opportunity to visit the statue, and so it's not just a giant statue, Con. They have a whole like sort of the ascent up the hill to the statue. They wind you through a variety of other monuments, including an eternal flame. Including a section where you are walking through this kind of like Russian Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
So you have like faces of famous Soviet leaders carved into stone and Soviet soldiers, and they're blasting music. The speakers like music of the time, and like like
Hmm.
the Russian like the Soviet anthem and things. So like you have this very kind of structured ascent up to the monument where you're kind of forced to go through a variety of different channels and encounter a variety of different other monuments too. So the whole experience, the experience of climbing up to the hill, climbing up the hill to the statue, was really powerful and really
Oh,
overwhelming. So I mean that was a really important moment for me.
okay. Yeah. Oh, so how long did it take to climb up the
I think we
entire
spent
thing?
like 2 or 3 hours there. Because you had to go around, you had to go through things. We watched the changing of the guard at the Eternal Flame inside there. I have pictures. Gosh, yeah, I bet I have them in my Dropbox, Kong.
Oh, okay. I mean yeah, you could yeah, you could just pop them up if you want to, but
Let me show you the Eternal Flame. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Kong. It's in here. You can if you just Google Eternal Flame Volgograd.
mhm. Hey.
So you walk, and you don't. I didn't really know it was there. I mean, it's just kind of like this building that you walk into. It's nondescript. You walk in, and it's like it's a giant hand.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
In the middle of the room holding an eternal flame, right? Which is always guarded
Hmm.
by the two soldiers up front with the wreaths in front of it. And then the whole building is kind of like gilded. I don't know if it was gold in there, but you see these sort of like kind of like the dazzling walls.
Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't like gold or like copper or something.
Yeah, it's just like metallic and radiant. And the entire building is kind of enshrined like that. And it almost feels like you're inside like an oven or something kind of crazy. Like it feels like you're in like a big copper vessel or something. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then have you ever seen a changing of the guard, Kong? Like the Eternal Flame of DC or anything like that?
No, yeah, I haven't seen that at all.
So what happens is those two soldiers will stand there like perfectly still for hours, and then they have to bring in new soldiers to replace them.
Mm-hmm.
And so to do that, they have this routine that they do when the guard is changed. So it's very regimented. You know what I mean? It's really indicative of military discipline, and it's a sight to behold. You know, just to see the changing of the guard in the Eternal Flame.
Hmm, yeah.
So that's there too, and you know that's all part of the experience going up there.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, but when you went up there, was it just you alone, or like you with like a whole group of tourists and other
Yeah, a
people?
group of study abroad students.
Oh, okay.
That program went there.
And I don't know. Yeah, and so wait, you said that they're like soldiers in here too. Does that mean they're like soldiers all over this place, or is it just that by the flame itself?
Hard to remember. I think there were definitely just soldiers inside the Eternal Flame.
Oh, okay. Like, yeah, because I was wondering, like, since this is like, yeah, I thought there were like soldiers all over, just because the whole city, has been like, well, just its history of like war and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just thought that maybe there might be like soldiers all over as well too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, I mean, it's not like a thing where it's like, you know, if you they have like things like Fort Snelling in
Hmm.
Minnesota, where they try to like reenact like a military experience.
Yeah.
So they have people in costume and things like that. I mean, this is just more about commemorating the actual military battle, and the soldiers are there because it is like a military obligation to continue to guard the Eternal Flame. You know, so there's nothing kind of hokey about it. I mean, this is like what the Russian military does.
Oh, okay. And I don't, yeah, and aside from this, yeah, what were the other places that you went to again?
I went to Kazan.
Oh, okay.
You know much about Kazan, Kong?
No, yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard of most of these like Russian cities that you're even talking about.
So you probably know about Moscow and St. Petersburg, right?
Yeah, yeah, those are like probably the only main two that I know.
Yeah, so people tend to view Russia as this kind of homogenous open space, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Think of you think of Russian people, you think of a lot of territory. You probably are familiar with Siberia as a concept too.
Yeah, we're like it's just all tundra and
Like this really
nothing.
barren open space
Yeah.
is kind of how Russian exists in the popular Western imagination. But inside of Russia, in the country, is a great amount of, you know, religious, ethnic, cultural diversity.
Ooh,
Different
okay.
people and inhabiting different portions of Russia. So Kazan is a major city on the Volga River, and it's the historic home of Turks or Tatars. Is what they call
Okay.
the Tatar people, Kong?
Yeah, kind of, not really though. So,
So
are
Tatars are like an Asiatic, like you know, kind of descendant of Turkish tribes, much like
uh,
the people of Central Asia.
oh, okay.
If you think of like people in Mongolia or like you know Turkmenistan or Uzbekistan or like Kazakhs would be another good example of a Turkish people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tatars are like that as well. And so Tatars and ethnic Russians have a long history of animosity. So the Tatars conquered the entirety of Russia, you know, with the Mongols, you know, in like the 14th century. So Russia for a long time was sort of subject to the rule of Khans.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay, okay.
All I'm saying is, Kong, is that they are a distinct people. They're Muslim. It's a different language and it's different ethnicity. You know, and so like really Kazan is the you know kind of social cultural capital of Tatardom in Russia. So when you go there, it feels as if you're in a different country.
Oh, okay.
And in Kazan, which is the capital of Tatarstan, which is a province in Russia, you have
Mhm.
like large mosques, for example,
Oh,
right? Which
okay.
you're not going to see a
Yeah.
substantial number of in Moscow. I mean, you're going to see a lot of Orthodox Christian churches in Moscow. So there was a really gorgeous mosque, which the local government had made in Kazan that we had an opportunity to look at. And Kazan itself in Tatarstan was a place that had attempted to secede from Russia after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Are you familiar with Chechnya, Khan?
Nope, not really.
Okay.
Yeah. All the
Chechnya, and you ever heard of the Chechen War?
nope. Yeah, I don't think I've really heard of it.
Okay, so Chechnya is a region in southern Russia on the border of Russia and Georgia that really famously attempted to secede from Russia in the early 2000s. And Russia, because Russia had gone through the collapse of the Soviet Union, was a very poor nation, and some of the smaller ethnically distinct states within Russia were attempting to seek cultural and political sovereignty from Russia, so they're trying to become their own independent countries.
Oh, okay.
You might be familiar with like Kosovo, Kong.
Nope. Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
Okay. Kosovo is an independent state which was recently formed in the former Yugoslavia. When Yugoslavia broke apart,
Mm,
in
yeah.
the late 90s, when Yugoslavia fell apart as a concept, and like you had the rise of distinct states built around singular ethnicities. So you have like Serbia became a country, Bosnia and Herzegovina became a country,
Oh, okay.
Macedonia. Kosovo also became a country too later. This was kind of happening in Russia as well, and there's a lot of political violence and a lot of ethnic tension and warfare, and a lot of people were killed in Chechnya over the war. And that's actually how Putin came to power, Han.
Oh, really?
Putin rose to prominence because he sort of famously and really brutally sort of temporarily eradicated the Chechen resistance in the Second Chechen War by like bombing and destroying the entirety of like the capital of Chechnya.
Oh,
So
okay.
Kazan is a place much like Chechnya insofar that it's ethnically distinct from sort of Slavic Christian Orthodox Russian peoples that had also attempted to secede, but they were able to sort of amicably resolve that situation with the Russian Federation after the collapse of the Soviet Union, whereas Chechnya was not. So that's that place that elected not to go to war.
Oh, okay. So that's like kind of like the safe area then, or
Yeah, so it's a safe place to visit, you know what I mean? But it's interesting to sort of think about how the people of Kazan are different from the people of Chechnya and how they compare with ethnically Russian people. And so there's a lot of contemporary history in Kazan, which was very interesting.
oh, okay.
And they're a very oil-rich region, Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of great resources.
Oh, okay. Oh, so does that mean that what is it? Kazan has a little bit like better economy than the province of Kazan.
Yeah, so a much better economy in Kazan because they have a substantial amount of natural resource wealth there, whereas Chechnya is kind of like a poor mountainous region,
Mm-hmm.
and which has been historically rebellious with relation to the Russian Empire. Like people were, I mean, the history of the Chechen resistance to the Russian Empire goes back to the 19th century. You know,
Yeah.
so so you have Volgograd, right, which is very much a very tragic location in World War II,
Mm-hmm.
where you have this kind of imminent sense of just like dying. There's a lot. You can feel like a lot of death in that city, and it's really kind of
Ooh.
intense. And
Okay.
commemoration is a big part of Volgograd. And then you have Kazan, which is an interesting city in its own right, right? Because you have an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. You have discussions of what it means to be sovereign, of independence, right?
Yep.
Questions of what it means to be like a sort of a distinct cultural entity within a larger sort of multi-ethnic conglomeration, which is the Russian Federation. So Kazan's very cool too. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So when you first like when you first went there, were you like kind of surprised and culture shocked by all these new stuff and how different each cities were, even though they're all just kind of right next to each other?
Well, yeah. I had learned a little bit about some of the differences and complexities of Russia, because I was majoring in Russian studies. But I
Mm-hmm.
think actually going there and experiencing it and experiencing the kinds of the ways in which non-Russian people are treated in Russia, and like political dissidents, people of different ethnic backgrounds, also people of different sexual orientations are not welcome in Russia. So Russia is
Oh,
notoriously lags behind Western Europe in terms of homosexual rights and transgender rights. To kind
oh,
of
okay.
see it all in action and kind of experience that and be a part of it, I think was very, very enlightening and transformative for me. So I got to learn a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and yeah, so like, would you consider like Russia to be like really conservative then about its, I don't know, its political things? Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what is it, religion? Yeah, sexuality and all that.
Yeah, Russia is a socially and politically conservative place right now, right? Because Russia
Hmm.
for a long time has really struggled with implementing an open and free democracy, which I think is pretty notorious.
Oh,
It has a reputation for that, right? So people will say like there's not free elections in Russia, that
uh-huh.
Putin doesn't allow for alternative parties to run in Russia, that his top competition is jailed or barred from television, or and they control the media there as well. So it's a very conservative political space. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And oh yeah, so I guess on a like a lighter note, like yeah, I mean like I don't know,
Too
yeah.
heavy?
I
Too
mean
heavy?
it's all about like the dark history of Russia right now, but like while you were there, I don't know, yeah, was it like anything particular you really enjoy? Like food or like their music or just the way how their cities are laid out?
Well, yeah, I had an absolute blast with the art museums and the history.
Oh, oh, okay, okay.
So I had the most fun going to like the State Art Museum in Russia. It's absolutely fantastic, as well as getting a chance to go to St. Petersburg and seeing the Hermitage, which
Mm-hmm.
is I don't know the greatest museum in the world. So the Louvre
Oh,
can take that. The Louvre, I mean, like Hermitage is amazing.
oh, okay. And is it?
Have you seen it, Con?
No, I haven't seen it.
Google Hermitage in St. Petersburg. Hermitage.
Hold on. Herg.
Mitage.
Um, I'm,
So
I'm,
it's on
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What was that? Okay, can we repeat it for me?
Hermitage.
Hmm.
Hermitage.
Oh, okay, okay, got it.
Just take a peek at that. Just kind of scroll through those for image results.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's like wow. It's right next to the water, right?
Yep, right on the
Oh,
canal there.
yeah. It's like so. I don't know. It looks really. Yeah, it looks like really extravagant and decorated.
So
Kind of.
it's the former winter palace of the czars.
Oh, okay.
So it's a
And
former, it's like the czar's palace, which was kind of like one of the real sites of the Russian Revolution, converted into a state history museum. And the building in and of itself is, I mean, it was is as good as the art, And so they have a really
mhm.
great, fantastic collection of European art, Western European art. But the building, Kong, I mean, check out like the staircase. You should check out the throne room too.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm seeing the staircase right. It's like double staircase and goes up each side. Hmm.
Check out the throne room where the czar would sit. It's just there. Isn't that
Oh,
crazy?
yeah, yeah. Wow,
It's got
that's
the portrait
cool.
of, I think that's Peter behind it.
Mhm. Ooh, yeah. And did you get to visit the? Yeah, so you all went and visit the throne room too, then, right?
Yeah, you get to see it all, And so I think
Oh,
going up there and like being is that was one of the most overwhelming experiences I've ever had in my life.
oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. The building does look. Yeah, this building does look really nice though. It has that I don't know. This has a really antique feel to it.
Yeah. People would say that it's neoclassical
Mm-hmm.
in architecture. I think that's the word people use for it. It
Yeah,
feels like Western Europe. You think of like Versailles or Paris, you
yeah.
know, when you see this stuff. For sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and was it like was it just mainly paintings out in here, or were there like
Well,
sculptures and whatnot too?
sculpture as well. Yeah.
Oh,
As well as I'm trying to think if they had like vases too and stuff. But
oh, okay. But just like so, a lot of it were a lot of like the art there like national treasure, or was it just kind of like art collected all through Russia from over the years.
You mean like Nicolas Cage, National
Yeah,
Treasure? Or?
yeah. Well, I mean, not to that level, but like the artwork themselves, you know, kind of like the building, where it's kind of like a national landmark, I suppose.
Yeah. So here's the really interesting thing about the Hermitage, Kong, is that it's filled with mostly non-Russian art.
Oh.
So almost because this was where the czars lived, and the czars
Mhm.
were interested in establishing Russia as a major Western European power.
Oh,
They
okay.
wanted to be. They wanted to play with France. They wanted to play with, the Habsburgs. They wanted to play with Germany when Germany came around in England, and the way they did that was by collecting and sort of establishing themselves as a major presence in in Western culture.
Oh, okay. So then, were like most of these like paintings and sculptures just the Tsar's like personal collection then that they just kind of put up and displayed?
Yeah. For sure. And so it's interesting, right? Because it's such a treasure of Russian people, that museum, but there's no Russian art in there, and the Russian art is stored in different museums.
Oh, yeah, that is interesting.
hmm
And wait, and then how long did you say this like the Tsar? How long did he rule from?
The Romanov dynasty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Romanovs began in like 1690s, and then they ended in 1917 with the Russian Revolution.
Wow. That was like almost 300 years or so.
Yeah, well, just over two
Oh, it's over two. Oh, they say it started at 1600s all to the 1900s.
through 1917.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I
never
think
mind.
it's 1690s to 1917. So it's the Romanov dynasty. They don't start in 1684 because they have the time of troubles. Oh, it is 1613. Never mind. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It is 300
Oh,
of
okay.
Romanov rule. Over 300 years, yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting though. Like the way how they yeah, just the way how they just collected artwork and to be a powerhouse, but then they don't have any of their own in this building.
Well, you think
Yeah.
about it for yourself, Kong. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I mean, you world, you live in Minnesota
Mm-hmm.
in the United States, and you are living in a world which is predominantly controlled by white Anglo-Saxon Protestant immigrants
Mm-hmm.
who are going to be the people who are like, running the schools, who are going to be your elected officials, who are going to be running the private businesses and things like that. And if you
Yeah.
want to establish yourself as an individual in that world, people want to see that you're able to succeed in it. So there's like this sense and there's this tension between who you are as a person and who you need to be accepted in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and so I mean, this is a part of working at Upward Bound too, is helping students negotiate that tension, right? Because I work with students and I want them to go to college and I want them to succeed and I want them to get good jobs, and I know that doing that means sometimes playing by the rules that are set up by society, right?
Yeah.
And that can manifest itself in a variety of ways. So it's like, do you watch the same TV shows as me? Do you also
Mm-hmm.
go up to the lakes for cabin weekend? Right? Do you like the same
Yeah.
food as me? Do you like watch? You know what I mean? Do you like the same bands?
Mm.
And like those things are cultures, and that's how groups, like specific groups, express themselves through power, is through culture.
Oh, okay.
And so
Yeah.
if you think about that, if you think about that, Con, and that's what Russia's doing, right? Russia's trying to be part of Western Europe, so they're trying to assimilate as quickly as possible to Western European standards of culture. And this is something that people deal with at all times in all places of the world. And this is what I help students with too, is kind of figuring out how can I be true to myself, you know what I mean, while still getting a college education and moving up in the world, you know?
Yeah.
You feel that, Kong?
Yeah. 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 I get what you said. Yeah. I think that is pretty important too.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you
And
ever feel like a minute, Con, that like you that do you feel ever feel like a minute that like you have to be less Hmong to do things? Do you ever get that from
mhm.
people?
Yeah, sometimes like right now I'm taking a grammar class And I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know. This is weird because I've known like we've done grammar like around eighth grade all the way to like maybe 10th. But then I don't know. I feel like I feel like I've never really learned grammar. Yeah, even though we've done it in class, like middle school to high school. Yeah, and I don't know. I just feel like it's weird because
Is it just Hmong students in the class, or is it white students?
oh no, yeah, they're white students. I'm probably the only Hmong student in there.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But then I don't know, but maybe just me though, because like they're all mainly English majors.
Oh,
Yeah.
because are they all education majors that they want to teach English, or are they
Mhm.
just
Just some of them they're creative writing and other and other writing degrees, but
yeah?
yeah, the majority of us that are in there, yeah, we are education majors. Yeah,
So that's
English.
a process. That's a process of cultural assimilation, right? Because they're
Yeah.
trying to implement a variety of standardized rules by which you should practice the language you speak fluently, right?
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile that with the fact that how do you reconcile that with who you are as a person? Because you have to be able to speak eloquently and write in a certain way to get a job, right? But what they're telling you is that the way that
hmm
you learned to do it was incorrect, right?
Yeah.
So you have to look back on your past and what you learned and be like, oh, it's doing it what
Yeah.
they say to be the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's challenging, right?
And I do feel like that is like a problem for me though, because like when I'm doing it, I think it's right, but then I don't know, it turns out to be like a complete opposite sometimes.
Sure. And that's challenging. And it's challenging, especially for Hmong students. It's challenging also with Black students
hmm
who I work with at a younger level, because the way Black
Yeah.
Americans speak is not the same way White America speaks.
Yeah, that's true. And
And you teach students how to navigate that difference and how to feel still true to themselves while continuing to sort of make themselves a force in the world of education. Like, it's very hard. Very hard.
yeah.
Does that make sense, Colin? Is it too heavy again?
No, no, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. I get it. It's just really thought provoking.
Yeah, it's tough to think
Yeah.
about, especially if you're going to get into the field of education, Con,
hmm
and you're going to be working with students. You're going to have students all the time who are dealing with these kinds of things.
Yeah. And I don't know what else. How about like okay, yeah, okay. So this one thing I did. So this is what I did when I went to McAllister College when I visited there. So basically, we were just talking about how like students go visit abroad, kind of like how you did with Russia, but then like they just visit like the was it the country for was it the what is it the educational stuff, they're not really like exploring what the country actually is, going through all the thing, like even like how Russia, I'm sure there are like the more prosperous cities, and then there's the more I don't know, the more lower ones, like we were talking about, what was that one that start with a T again? Yeah,
You
yeah,
have
yeah,
to talk about Kazan,
yeah, no, yeah, the sit
Chechnya.
the yeah, that one, yeah, Tetris, yeah.
Yeah, that's Chechnya.
Oh, Chechnya. Oh, okay.
You should look up the
Yeah.
Chechen Wars, Con.
What was that?
You should read about the Chechen Wars. They're important events.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll probably, I'll probably check that out sometime.
You lying to me?
No, no, I would probably check it out. I mean,
Okay.
not now, but maybe later.
Okay, I believe you.
Yeah, and then yeah. So I'm sure you've been like to some parts of Russia that are like what are considered the ghettos.
Hmm.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So have you visited those parts too, other than just like the
Well,
bigger cities?
I didn't get much of an opportunity to. So what happens in Russia is it's very expensive to live in the center of Moscow, as in
Uh-huh.
major cities in other parts of the world as well. And the people who come, there are a substantial number of transient workers, or people who come from very far outside of Moscow to work for several hours and then go back home. And these people are
Oh.
often from Central Asia. They're
Mm-hmm.
non-ethnic Russians. They're non-ethnic Russians. They probably speak some Russian. They're not Christian Orthodox, and they are definitely treated like lesser individuals. You know, they're kind of like this army of like reserve labor
Oh, okay.
who come in. They're low wage labor. They come in, they work at the jobs. They can't afford to live in Moscow, so they go back out to the countryside to live at the end of the day. And you know, they're often brutally exploited and you know, not allowed access to equal opportunity or political rights in Russia. So it's a very interesting situation. I didn't get much of a chance to go out to those communities. You know, I didn't get a chance to go out to some of the towns that are populated by someone like the day workers. But it would have been
Oh,
great.
oh, okay. Yeah, because what was that? Yeah, we were talking about like that kind of thing in one of my was it in one of this organization I am is it's called Teachers of Tomorrow. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. Which was what I went with when we went to McAllister College.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad you went.
yeah, and then there's this there there's this element. No, it's a middle school. Yeah, Ramsey Middle School is right next to McAllister College.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we were just talking about that how like studying abroad, like you go to see all the like the big sites and whatnot, but then oftentimes, people that go they forget about the other side, or or like more like the true side of the country, you know, kind of
Yeah.
like yeah, kind of like Russia. You know, you go to see all these big cities and the museums and stuff, and then like oftentimes people forget about that there are people like real people there too, like living there, and they're kind of like in poverty and whatnot, and this how like yeah, and just how could we take that into what is it into consideration?
For sure. For sure. I mean, it's oftentimes come back with a very rosy, optimistic picture of a place because that's what you had the ability to see. You know,
Hmm.
whereas people don't often have the time or like the desire, you know what I mean, to really interact with some of the deeper social contradictions.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's certainly one of the truths of study abroad. It's one of the truths of tourism in general. You know, for people that travel the world, and it's very challenging to sort of advocate for different approaches and different views.
yeah, okay. And hmm, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what else to ask you about Russia.
It's
Yeah,
okay, Con. We've chatted for a bit, haven't we?
yeah. We did chat for a bit.
Well, if you don't mind, I got a couple items to take care of here this morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine then. Okay.
Yeah.
And and I got to tell you one more thing about my project. Okay, so I'm gonna be editing this video, and then
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to cut it down to maybe just 5 minutes, 4 to 6 minutes. Yeah, and then I'm gonna present to my class. Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm supposed to get your permission too, even though I asked you just again.
yeah, that's great.
If you're
Can I
fine
get
with
a
that.
look? Can I get a look at the edit
Yeah,
before
yeah, yeah,
I submit it to
yeah.
class? I just want to make sure that I feel like I was represented fairly.
Okay, yeah. That's fine. Yeah. Once I'm done editing, I'll also send you a copy. Yeah, before I present to my class.
Please, yeah.
Okay, and yeah, I don't know. Would you like to say like, some kind of goodbye so I can put it at the end of my video too?
Well, it was really nice chatting with you, Kong. I appreciate it, and best of luck with everything at Mankato.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, bye, Matt. I'll send the video when it's before I submit it.
Okay.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
Yep, you too, man. I'll catch you later.
Yeah, bye.